Basically, in this coming lectures of several sessions, we are going to conduct various anti-infective agents, which are generally used in several types of infections. And basically, these all belongs to infectious disorders, which are caused by pathogens, which are caused by what is called, whether it is bacteria, fungus, viruses, or protozoa, or maybe some kind of other helminthes or scabies. So all these infectious pathogens are responsible for causing certain kinds of uh, disease. So in coming lectures, we are going to cover the another unit of your syllabus related to anti-infective agents. And one of the anti-infective agents under this category is anti-TB agents, which are generally called as, uh, I mean to say, anti-tuberculotic agents. Okay, so what are these agents? So as the name suggests, anti-TB agents. So they are useful in tuberculosis. They are used in Mycobacterium, a pathogen which is responsible for causing tuberculosis. So there are several agents which are used. There are several drugs which are useful in this treatment of, I mean to say, tuberculosis. Whether they are called as anti-TB agents, or they are sometimes also called as anti-mycobacterial agents, or sometimes they are also called as anti-tuberculotic agents. So these are the several other names, but the function is same, that it is used in TB, that is tuberculosis. So we will come to this. Before that, I would like to introduce you people what is called tuberculosis and what is that. So TB is a disorder which is caused by mycobacteria, namely Mycobacterium tuberculosis. So basically, this is uh, a mycobacteria. It is not the simple bacteria, such as gram-positive bacteria and gram-negative bacteria, which can be stained with the help of methylene blue or some other kind of dye. But this mycobacteria, which are specifically stained uh, through some other kind of chemical dyes, because their chemical structure of cell wall is completely different than that of other microorganisms, such as gram-positive bacteria and gram-negative bacteria. The only difference is that their cell wall contains mycolic acid. So this mycolic acid is a complex structure. Is made up of somehow kinds of lipids and fats and oil combination. Sometimes it is also called as lipopolysaccharide. It is composed of lipo means lipid portion, polysaccharide means carbohydrate or sugar. So it is a mixed kind of this carbo and lipo uh, properties. Lipopolysaccharide. So that is one of the characteristics of this mycolic acid, and it is much complex. As we know that human cell wall does not contain cell wall. Cell wall is absent in the cells of Homo sapiens. But this mycobacterial cell wall that contains this, or the cells of mycobacteria contain cell wall, and the major constituent of this cell wall is mycolic acid. And all this Mycobacterium tuberculosis, whether it is some other mycobacterium, so all these mycobacterium contains mycolic acid. इसीलिए इनके जो species का नाम है, that is Mycobacterium, right? So this is the name of the species of that microorganism, genus of that family, Mycobacterium. And Those microorganisms which are responsible for causing tuberculosis, they are called as Mycobacterium tuberculosis. And it is a rod-shaped bacilli. You know what is called bacillus. One bacterium which is a rod shape, that is called bacillus. But more than one bacterium which are rod shape, bacteria which is rod shape, those are called bacilli, right? So there are several types of bacteria depending upon their shapes, whether it is Koki or or some others such as this Koki, I mean to say bacillus, etc. Fine. So this my species, Mycobacterium tuberculosis, pathogen that contains unusual cell wall, which is combination of high lipid content and that is responsible for causing resistance. That is the major, I mean to say, hinder for डेवलपमेंट ऑफ एंटी टीबी ड्रग, क्योंकि उसका सेल वॉल ही इतना स्ट्रांग है, इतना लिपोइडल है, which is composed of lipids, that drugs cannot enter into mycobacteria to kill it because it is made up of high lipid content. Okay, so that is the characteristics of mycobacterium, right? And it can cause several conditions, such as it may affect CNS, circulatory system, bones, joints, etc. Generally, we know that tuberculosis is a disorder in which patient will go on losing the weight. Patient का weight पहले बहुत normal होता है. If he or she develops tuberculosis, then its weight will go on reducing. Patient will have continuous sneezing and coughing. Sometimes blood will also appear in the sputum while sneezing and coughing. And if we go on examination of that sputum collected by this somehow laboratory technician, so after diagnosis, we can identify the bacterial species, Mycobacterium tuberculosis, present in the sputum. Tuberculosis is really a dangerous disorder than HIV/AIDS. I repeat this. Tuberculosis, TB is more danger than HIV/AIDS. Why? Because HIV/AIDS spreads through limited number of options. Options are limited for the spread of HIV infectious human immunodeficiency virus. TB is even more danger than HIV. The reason is TB spreads through air, right? Even if we don't come in the direct contact with the tuberculotic patient, one can may infect with TB. जैसे कि आज मुझे टीबी हुआ है, आई एम इन्फेक्टेड ऑफ टीबी, so definitely those mycobacterium will be surviving in my lungs, will make their colonies into my lungs, and these colonies will be in my inhalation as well as exhalation, and because of that this mycobacterium can come into the air. The species can transmit into the air medium, and because of that it may infect other persons who come in my direct contact, just like COVID-19. This TB is also airborne disease. Airborne disease means the disorders which are affected, which are transformed into the air. So that's why they are called as airborne disease. Okay, so this TB is even more dangerous than HIV/AIDS. So that I want to say by distinguishing this, that HIV/AIDS may spread through limited number of options, but this TB spreads to the air, and we know that this air is one of the required resources to sustain the life. If we don't have air, we cannot live. We may live without food, water, or clothes for some days, रोटी कपड़ा और मकान के बिना शायद हमारा जीवन चल जाएगा, बट वी कैन नॉट लिव विदाउट एयर, इवन नॉट मोर देन 1 to 5 minutes. कोई 1 मिनट के बिना रह सकता है, पर 5 मिनट, 10 मिनट, 1 घंटा, कैन यू सर्वाइव विदाउट एयर और ऑक्सीजन? आंसर इज नो. That's why if your air is polluted with such kinds of pathogens, pollutants, then it is one of the medium to transmit several number of diseases. Tuberculosis is one of the example. COVID-19 coronavirus disease is one of the example that spreads through the air. There are several debates going on that why COVID-19 is it really airborne disease or not. Sometimes WHO claims it is, and sometimes it says it is not. Now it says it is an airborne disease. That's why if we want to protect ourselves from these kinds of pathogens, we need to wear the mask to filter the air which can go into our lungs, right? So this TB, whether it is COVID-19, whether it is swine flu, or whether it is influenza, so all the kinds of flus, all the kinds of these viruses, they are airborne disease, because these pathogens which spreads through the air, even if I sneeze or if I cough into the atmosphere, then these pathogens will spread into the atmosphere, and because of that, other persons who may come into my contact can develop either tuberculosis or any such kinds of disease if direct or indirect exposure is there. So under this condition, I want to claim that TB is more danger than HIV/AIDS. Nearly 2 billion people have been suffering from this disease every year, and about 13 million people have been affected with tuberculosis throughout the world. And more than 2 million people have been, and so many people have been died. I think 1,000 people are dying daily in India due to TB. So this is one of the resource which says that about 1,000 people. So you can count 24 hours, 1,000 patients. 1 hour, how many patients? Then 1 minute, how many patients? So this number is quite big. It is not a small number of a death of the patients because of tuberculosis. And let me tell you, this TB, India ranks the second position in TB after China. So India is a hub of, India is a capital of tuberculosis, because we know that we are the largest after largest population in the country after China, right? So this disease which spreads through the air, and moment anyone who comes in the contact with the infected patient, other patient may develop TB. In fact, myself and yourself all are affected with TB, but that TB is called as latent tuberculosis. Latent tuberculosis means a tuberculosis which is inactive, where the mycobacterium are in dormant phase, because our immunity is strong enough to fight with MTB, Mycobacterium tuberculosis. Once our immunity fell down, then this mycobacteria will get a chance to fight with, to take over our immunity, and may develop this TB. So there are two types of this, latent and active tuberculosis. Latent tuberculosis means myself and yourself, and perhaps most of the people of the country of our India might have latent tuberculosis. It is inactive TB, where the mycobacteria are in dormant phase, inactive phase. But other part is called active TB, where the patients have already developed the same signs and symptoms of TB, continuous sneezing and coughing, irrespective whether whatever we take the medicine. That is what called this TB. And as it is mentioned, it is throat, it coughing, sneezing, etc. So that's why this can develop. And when this TB is affected with HIV/AIDS, so that really aggravates the situation of the patients. Because if TB is already there and patient who is having some other disorders, HIV/AIDS, diabetes, hypertension, or some other just have been mentioned over here, then the treatment of TB becomes much more difficult. You might have heard the name of directly observed treatment short course, which is called DOTS therapy. What is this DOTS therapy? This therapy is one of the therapy which is being given to the patients. India is a hub of tuberculosis. Government of India has launched this program. This are giving these medicines free of the cost without single rupees. And that treatment is called directly observed treatment short course. And short course kitna 6 mahine ka, which is followed by 4+2. So there is specific drugs which are given for the 4 months, and subsequently another set of the drugs which are given in 2 months. So this DOTS is therapy. That is a specific kind of therapy where patients will have to go to the health center. Patient means the person who has been detected TB. So he or she will have to visit the nearest health care center and will have to take the medicines from that center only. The person who is sitting there, pharmacist or whomsoever, who will tick mark that so and so person has visited the center and has taken the medicine in front of me. So why it is required that patient has to visit to the DOTS center and have to take the medicines there only? Why not he or she can take at the home? Definitely, this treatment can be cured if patient take the same medicine at the home also. But if patient fails to take the medicine, such as he or she fail on Tuesday, today for example, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday और ऐसे ऐसे करते next Tuesday आ गया and patient all of sudden remind, oh, I forgot to take the medicine which was prescribed by the doctors to me. So what will happen? That mycobacterium will develop the resistance, and that resistance will make all the medications ineffective. Not a single drug is going to act against this if mycobacterium develops resistance. And this, let me tell you, this resistance is highly pathogenic one. You might have heard the name of this MDR-TB, which is multi-drug resistant tuberculosis. That suggests the drug is effective or this mycobacterium are difficult to kill in front of using these multi-drugs. Some of the drugs are first-line drugs and some of such as isoniazid and rifampicin, and a few of these isoniazid and rifampicin, if they are ineffective, then this TB is called MDR-TB, multi-drug resistance tuberculosis. Okay. Another type of resistance is there, that is called XDR-TB. That TB is completely another one, extensively drug resistant tuberculosis, XDR-TB. where mycobacteria will develop resistance in front of this isoniazid, rifampicin, ciprofloxacin, and a few this amoxicillin and few of this anti second line anti-TB drugs. The third type of TB which is observed in our country, that is called TDR TB, which is basically called as resistant, sorry, total drug resistant tuberculosis. I repeat their names: MDR TB, multi drug resistant tuberculosis; XDR TB, extensively drug resistant tuberculosis; and TDR TB, which is called total drug resistant tuberculosis. Fine. So I was talking about these three disorders: MDR TB, XDR TB, and TDR TB. Basically, these are three types of TB where resistance has been developed. I mean to say this because of resistance to the already existing drugs. Now, why such resistance can be developed? Such kind of resistance can be developed just because of the existence of mycolic acid, which is present in the cell wall of bacteria. So this mycolic acid which is present there, that is made up of highly lipoidal contents, and that can cause this, I mean to say, resistance. And once the resistance develops, then mycobacteria are ineffective to any other drugs. आप चाहे कितना भी पेशेंट को दवाई दे दो, वो टीबी से रिकवर नहीं होने वाला है. It is going to, TB is going to kill the patient. That's why it is suggested that patient should take the medicines regularly. And to, क्योंकि एक बार रेजिस्टेंस डेवलप हो गया तो आप चाहे कितना भी हाथ पांव सब लगा लो, patient is not going to cure, not going to recover. That's why resistance should be avoided by regular medication. And this happens with the patients also. Do you know how much pills or how much amounts of tablets patient has to engulf to recover from TB at a time? There are more than 6 to 7 pills or tablets or capsules which patient has to take to recover from TB. So patient will feel like that I am not taking the medicines, but I am taking my lunch. 6-7 गोली वो हाथ में आएगी तो उसको लगेगा कि मैं मेरी दवाई नहीं खा रहा हूँ, मैं अपना खाना खा रहा हूँ. So this way, patient will not develop a kind of interest, or patient will not feel good to take the 6 or more than 6 or 7 medicines at a time. जैसे आपको भी 1 2 3 गोली लेनी है तो ठीक है, पर 6-7 गोली और वो फिर हर दिन सुबह में भी और शाम में भी, something like that, then it is really a challenging. So it is suggested that this develops a kind of pill burden. Pill burden patient will develop, where patient will have to take more than one medicines at a time. Fine. So that's why it is much necessary that patient should take the medicines regularly. What are the symptoms? Symptoms are just like unproductive cough. Patient will feel tired all the time, and that may be signified through the weakness. Patient will have continuous weakness, and that he will, and also continuous vomiting or sometimes diarrhea, because if there is diarrhea, then he or she will develop the weight loss. The loss of appetite, भूख ही नहीं लगेगी, then how he or she is going to survive? Sweating at the night time means perspiration when she is going to, or is sleeping, or she is sleeping, or he is sleeping. So night sweat, that is another symptoms. Fever, fatigue, and if we go on for chest X-ray determination, it will look like this. Kind of chest X-ray, you can see there are several kinds of lesions which have been developed. It is not, will not be the normal one, but it will be completely different, abnormal kind of X-ray pattern. Although I am not an X-ray expert or a kind of radiologist to scan this, but this kind of chest X-ray will be observed in the tuberculotic patient. Okay, so how can we treat it? So there are several medicines which are useful for treatment of TB. So what are their structures and what are their modes of actions, their side effects, and what can be their uses, in what kind of patients they can be used? But furthermore, I would like to discuss and introduce you people. There are only 3 medications which came into the market for treatment of tuberculosis since last 46 years. Only 3 medications to treat TB. You can imagine that 46 years, about a near and half of the century, only 3 drugs into the market to treat tuberculosis. One of them is bedaquiline. So this bedaquiline is a drug, is a quinoline derivative, termed as biaryl quinoline derivative. So that is you only use in MDR TB and also in adults. Sometimes it is used in combination with another anti-TB drug, linezolid. It is oxazolidine class of antibiotic. So for treatment of MDR TB, this, and especially for the adults, this bedaquiline is used. And it is having some different mechanism of action, such as ATP synthase inhibitor. That is the mechanism of action of this drug, ATP synthase inhibitor, and it was approved by US FDA, United States Food, Drug and Administration, US FDA, in the month of December 2014. So it was launched in the December 2014 for treatment of US FDA. And it has also developed some side effects, hepatotoxicity or cirrhosis of liver. So that is the side effect of this drug, which is observed in some of the patients who have been treated with this bedaquiline. So this is number 1 drug which came into the market in December 2014, approved by US FDA. Again, it is not from India, it is from this USA. Johnson and Johnson company, which is a multinational company, which work in collaboration with TB Alliance. So they have developed this drug together, and it is ATP synthase inhibitor. This has been published in one of the article of a journal named as Science for the first time. So Science is a big journal in which this article was published first for the first time, that bedaquiline biaryl quinoline derivative, which is responsible for this healing of Mycobacterium tuberculosis and used in MDR kind of TB, multi-drug resistance tuberculosis. Another drug whose name is delamenide. So delamenide, that is another drug that came into the market, approved by European Medical Agency, EMEA. It is approved by European Union. This is not from US, but this is from Europe, for treatment of, again, MDR TB. And delamenide is another drug. Third drug, whose name is pretomanid. So pretomanid is another nitrofuran derivative, which is responsible for nitric oxide synthase inhibition. That is the third drug which is approved in last year, August 2019, for treatment of this TB. It is basically MDR TB, and it has been approved only for in children. So these are the three drugs which came into the market, which have been approved by these so and so regulatory agencies for treatment of this TB. And this number is much smaller, only 3 medications. और एक समय तो ऐसा था कि 40 साल से कोई दवाई नहीं थी टीबी की. This is really a horrible and terrible situation. 40 years have been passed, not a single drug was there in 2014. But now, there are last 6 years, these 3 medicines have been approved. So you can think of this discovery void. I want to say a term, discovery void. There is deficiency of discovery of tuberculosis, and that is just because of the resistance. The resistance is really that way strong that Mycobacterium will develop the resistance in front of these medicines. So that's why in 1993, WHO has declared that tuberculosis as this kind of global health emergency, maybe in the month of April in 1993. Just like COVID-19 has been declared in 2020, in the month of March or April, as a global health emergency. Similarly, this is that. And also, WHO has decided that we should celebrate March 24 every year as a World Tuberculosis Day, World TB Day, March 24, because this is the day where, for the first time, Sir Robert Koch. So Robert Koch was the first person who discovered Mycobacterium tuberculosis, and he has been awarded with Nobel Prize in the year 1995. So you remember where he has discovered this MTB maybe in the year of 1970s. After his death, he has been awarded with Nobel Prize in the field of physiology and medicine. Robert Koch. He has written his book which he discuss about the discoveries of Mycobacterium tuberculosis, MT. Okay, so this is some kind of history which I wish to share with you, because since I'm also working on discovery of some of the anti-TB agents, so I try to share some historical information with you. Believe me, this TB is one of the dangerous disorder. Even as I can compare it with this COVID-19 also, because both the disease, both these culprits spreads through air. Anyone who is having TB will make others just like him or her. किसी एक को भी टीबी हुआ है तो दूसरे को टीबी करेगा, किसी एक को भी कोविड-19 हुआ है तो other person will also be like him or her. So under this circumstance, our motto that should be only our immunity. In geriatric patients, in old age persons, immunity will be always less. But in a young like you and me and us, immunity will be higher, so we can survive. What will happen to the children? What will happen to the pregnant ladies? What will happen to the other geriatric patients who have passed more than 60 years? So if they are caught with such kinds of disease, then definitely it is really challenge for us to treat them, to recover them. Okay, so that's why we should understand what is tuberculosis and what are the existing medicines which are used for TB and how they are acting, what is their side effects, etc., etc. That's why we should discuss all this. So, by definition, whatsoever the drugs which are useful for treatment of TB, they are called as Mycobacterium tuberculosis or anti-TB drugs, Mycobacterium drugs, right? So these are some of the historical ways that it has been mentioned. I shall share these slides with you so that later on you can go with this. So we know that in 1938, sulfanilamide was developed, and later on Dapsone has been developed, which was useful for the treatment of this leprosy, which is caused by another Mycobacterium species, Mycobacterium leprae. Mycobacterium leprae is responsible for leprosy, and for the treatment of leprosy, this Dapsone is used. So later on, after that, some other anti-TB drugs came into the existence, were discovered, such as streptomycin, isoniazid, ethambutol, rifampin or rifampicin. So they have been used. And let me tell you, these are not the drugs which have been identified recently. These are the drugs which have been identified more than 70 to 80 years ago. और तभी से ये मेडिसिन अब आज तक यूज हो रही है, right? Although lot of advances have been done, we have reached to the moon, we have reached to the Mars, or even far beyond that since last 70-80 years. But still we are using the medicines which have been discovered last 80 years ago. So that is the situation as of now. And फिर भी things are not in our control. Government of India has decided that by 2024 we shall be free, India shall be free from tuberculosis. But because of so many challenges together to maintain the economy of the country, to maintain or to fight with COVID-19 or to fight with the existing disease, do we think so that under these conditions what is a strong point with us to make India free. So there is a strong requirement of research in discovery of anti-TB agents, a new chemical class of the agents, which is having new mode of action, new kind of pharmacological action, which can inhibit the new target, because whatsoever the targets have been identified, ये isoniazide का जो target है, that has developed the resistance, streptomycin, para-aminosalicylic acid, ethambutol or rifampicin, इनके भी targets, they have developed the resistance. The strains are there. Isoniazide resistance Mycobacterium tuberculosis. Isoniazide is ineffective. Rifampicin resistance Mycobacterium tuberculosis. Again, in front of this resistance, our drugs are ineffective, helpless. They cannot work. So under this situation, these drugs will be ineffective. So that's why the drug discovery is behind this is much important. So what are the drugs which are used for the treatment as of now? So these are classified against in front of first in terms of two classes: first line drugs and second line drugs. Why they are called first line drugs? So first line drugs are the drugs which are used as a which depending upon the resistance they have classified. First line drugs which will exhibit highest efficacy and less toxicity and least chances of resistance. उनके खिलाफ रेजिस्टेंस होने का चांसेस बहुत ही कम है. That's why they are called first line drugs. In Gujarati it means maybe pratham shreni drugs or first class, topmost priority drugs, which are having least resistance, which can develop, there are less chances of development of resistance. So these are basically ethambutol, isoniazid, pyrazinamide, rifampicin, streptomycin. And if we shall also visit all these drugs and their chemical structures, that which kind of cyclic ring is present into them. Because of that, these drugs are still popular since last 70 to 80 years. आज भी वो use हो रही है. So that we will also see in coming slides. Second class of drugs. In fact, these drugs are more toxic. So you can see toxicity level is increased from first to second line. ये less toxic थी और ये more toxic है. Here, they are having highest efficacy. But these are second line drugs are having least efficacy. And they can be used when this first line develops the resistance. जैसे एक आप समझो कि कोई एक बहुत बड़ा वॉर हो रहा है और आप चाहते हो कि पहले ही फाइट में आप जीत जाओ, तो डेफिनेटली आप अपनी टीम से, आप अपनी सेना से जो सबसे ज्यादा स्ट्रांग है उसको पहले भेजोगे, राइट? और फिर वो हार जाता है तो आप अब दूसरे वाले को भेजोगे. तो सिमिलरली लाइक दैट, if first line drugs develops the resistance, then second line drugs are used. First line drugs are less toxic. They are not causing much side effects. Second line drugs are more toxic. वो टीबी को मारेगी नहीं, बट पेशेंट को भी मारने का काम करेगी. In other words, it will create some side effects. Each and individual drugs have their side effects. We will visit these side effects into our coming slides. Second line drugs. So these are their classes. Aminoglycosides, which are a class of antibiotics. These kinds of basically sugars, they are also used as second line anti-TB drugs. Aminocasein, amikacin, and kanamycin. Basically, these aminoglycosides, Dr. Sureja might have taught you, these drugs are causing ototoxicity and nephrotoxicity. They can, if the patient is continuously taking these drugs, then he or she will have hearing loss. सुनने की शक्ति उनकी चली जाएगी, फिर आप जोर जोर से चिल्ला चिल्ला के भी बोलो तो उनको समझ में नहीं आएगा. That is called as auto, I mean to say ototoxicity. Patient will develop the ototoxicity, means will lose the capacity of hearing. Another is fluoroquinolones, such as ciprofloxacin and levofloxacin. These are basically quinolones kinds of structures. Six-membered rings having ketone in their cyclic skeleton. That is fluoroquinolone. Thiamides, such as this thionamide. So that is also one of the drug. The small molecule para-aminosalicylic acid, that is also a PAS, or sometimes it is a PAS. So that is also a kind of a useful drug. Smallest molecule, you can assume salicylic acid, OH, and COOH at 1-2 positions, and at fourth position of COOH, a para or 2 COOH, NH2 is there, para-aminosalicylic acid. That is also useful drug, second line anti-TB drug. Some of the peptides, and D-cycloserine is D-alanine analogs, cycloserine. So that is also one of the antibiotic in this class. Okay, so this is basically their classification of anti-TB drugs depending upon the efficacy, toxicity, and chances of the resistance. This is classification of drug according to their skeletons. Whatever the classification you want to go, you can go in. I will prefer you prefer this classification. I will suggest you adopt this classification because it is highly useful. Chemistry point of view, medicinal chemistry point of view, this classification is okay. Salicylic acid derivative, pyridine derivative, pyrazine, antibiotics, and miscellaneous. So this classification is okay, right? So what is this classes, etc., etc. So we will resume our discussion on individual drugs. We will go to each and every drug. We'll visit their structure. We'll visit their mechanism of action, their side effects, or clinical uses. There's some structure activity relationship, and also a kind of synthesis of not all, but of this few selected anti-TB drugs. So that we will resume in our coming lectures. So with this, we will end up here. So thank you everyone. Thank you so much.